Aloha. Thank you for joining us again for another episode of AJ and 8. You know, a lot of things have happened since our conversation that we had with Microgrid Knowledge, and it was really good. I mean, for those of you that weren't able to listen in, they actually did a really great job of putting together some really top-notch speakers, and I think it's definitely worth the time to be able to go in and listen. They actually have them recorded, so if you'd like, you can go on to microgridknowledge.com and go ahead and see the different talks that they had with so many different types of conversation, specifically as it relates to microgrids and the importance and just so many different things. So I would definitely recommend that you guys do that. And today's conversation, I wanted to kind of dive into, talk a little bit about resilience, because one of the questions that was asked by the audience in our session, it was really a fun time with Mike and Mark from Amoresco and PowerSecure, and it was a really good scenario to be able to be with people with such acumen within the industry. So one of the questions that was asked by the audience is, what is one of the most important parts of a microgrid, and the benefit, whatever you may want to look at it. And for me, it was really the ability to island yourself, right? When you put together a microgrid, a lot of people are doing it for so many different reasons. And for us, the ability to island yourself to be able to get the resiliency that you need, I think that was the overarching theme for almost all of the projects that we do and consult for and talk to people about. So as it relates to resilience, that's kind of the hot topic, nowadays, to talk about resiliency and being able to make sure the power stays on. And, as it relates to what the resilience is, there's a presidential policy directive that came out, PPD 21, and it says, quote, "The ability to prepare for and adapt to changing conditions and withstand and recover rapidly from disruptions. Resilience includes the ability to withstand and recover from deliberate attacks, accidents, or naturally occurring threats or incidents," close quote. So, the simple layman's term that I look at as it relates to, again, resiliency is the ability to just keep the lights on, the ability to keep moving forward. My business can continue to operate. I can continue to do things. And whether it means it's in full or in part, that's all dependent on the needs of each individual home, business, or building, right? So that's kind of the scenario that plays out in a lot of people's minds, is when this resiliency part comes in, how do you quantify or qualify or monetize this resilience? Because anybody can go ahead and talk about, how much savings I make. I go ahead and upgrade my HVAC system, my air conditioning system, from something that was old and inefficient to something that's new. I can actually see a direct correlation between the savings because of a lower utility bill. But you don't always get that when it comes to resiliency, right? So in the beginning, when we first started dealing with microgrids, that was a conversation that happened often, and it was, what's the cost of resiliency? So we would actually simply just walk in and talk to customers and say, if the power were to shut off for an hour, a day, a week, what type of impact would that have on your business? And we would actually go through the exercise with the customer, because this isn't an exercise that I can do by just taking their utility bill. It impacts so many different things. On one sense, the simple form is, if my power is out for an entire day and my employees cannot work, how much time is that going to cost me for me paying my employees and they can actually be productive and do the work needed? So that's in its simplest form. But we've also had customers, we had a grocery store that came in, and we were excited because we knew that by putting this microgrid on, we'd save them a lot of money. Now, on the flip side, we also looked at, okay, we're also going to be able to give them resiliency for a grocery store. We thought that was a great opportunity to help them because of their refrigerated products, their freezer products, all of these things that we thought. And this particular grocery chain said, AJ, I really don't care so much about the frozen foods and the refrigerated foods. I've got insurance for that. What I care about is my credit card batching. If my power goes out, I cannot batch all those. And that was a huge eye-opener for us, because what we thought was important was nowhere near what this person was talking to. And that's what, we really need to do a deeper dive to see what is the cost of resiliency. So now let's go back to, say a simple scenario of, say, a home. A customer may say, I don't want solar. I don't need solar. The savings is not that big, or I don't care, and things like that. But the same customer, when we talked about a microgrid, now mind you, everybody else kept thinking this guy's just cheap. He doesn't want to do it because, he doesn't want to spend the money. When we talked to him about a microgrid for his home and creating this whole nanogrid and his ability to withstand all of the energy fluctuations that may come into his life, it absolutely flipped him to the point where he's like, I don't care. Let's do it. Let's do everything. Whatever I can do. Well, we found out later as we were getting down the road with him that it's because he had a special needs child at home. And he said, if any time that the air conditioner went out, it would change the environment inside of his home, and his child would get sick, start getting asthma attacks and all of these things. And it was really a situation where he'd end up having to take his child into the hospital. And this was really making things difficult, because every time he showed up to the hospital, it was taking a year off of his life, basically, as far as his child's development. So now at that point, we started to really understand that this wasn't just about savings. This is about life saving. For him, it was being able to know that his child was going to be safe. And this could be the same for anybody with a mom or a father at home that depends on energy to be able to power their CPAP machines. I talked about it before. I wear a CPAP machine at night. If the power goes off, not only does my wife get scared because there's a bear in her bed, but there's a slim chance that I may not be able to wake up in the morning. So the cost of resiliency is completely different for every single person, community, family, and business. And it's our responsibility to kind of deep dive into how this resiliency is affecting their opportunity to grow, to sustain, to be who they are. And microgrids is definitely one way to help us get to the bottom of how we can protect these people. I'll see you guys again next week on AJ and 8. Aloha.